It's the John Dale Show. Like, share and subscribe. Evening, folks. Welcome to the John Dale Show, episode for the 23rd of July, then 23rd of December. Right, we've got a lot of stuff to get through then, so it's not quite going to be the Christmas that everybody wants. Parliament closed a few days ago, and the first thing that happened was they started... spilt me drink. They started saying ruling by decree by shutting London and all the boroughs down into a tier 4 situation, and there's been reports that there's going to be roadblocks, and then the police are now saying that they're not going to be doing roadblocks. What a bloody mess, guys. What an absolute mess. I'm just going to check, is the sound coming through okay, guys? Got some comments coming through. Hello Strawman, Lex L, Jimmy Baker, Rick66, Lord Muck. Coastwell has just put 1. Right, yeah, so I think the sound's coming through okay. It looks like it's right on the levels. Okay, let's crack on then. So, first thing we want to have a look at then is BBC News from probably about an hour and a half ago, I think this was. And let me just interact with this so that we can see what's going on. COVID-19. Millions more people to enter Tier 4 on Boxing Day. Let's have a look what's cracking off then. So, millions more people in the east and southeast of England are to enter Tier 4 on Boxing Day, Health Secretary Matt Hancock has announced. The place is moving into the highest level of restrictions, which include a stay-at-home order. It's not an order, it's a request. Border the areas already in Tier 4, so what we've got London and all the boroughs. Mr. Hancock, just call him Hancock, or worse. Also revealed that another new coronavirus variant from South Africa has been detected in the UK. Marvellous, ain't it? He said anyone who has been there in the last 2 weeks must quarantine immediately. So they're blaming South Africa for this now. Now, just before London went into Tier 4 lockdown, did anybody see the video clips where there was just hundreds of thousands of people flooding through the train stations on a mass exodus of London? So they've all fled around the country, deserted London, and I think the last time that happened was during the war. So this goes on to basically bullshit everybody with more scaremongering. Areas moving to Tier 4 are Sussex, Oxfordshire, Suffolk, Norfolk, Cambridgeshire, Hampshire, with the exception of the New Forest for some reason, and the parts of Essex and Surrey not already in the toughest restrictions. This means that an additional 6 million people will be in Tier 4, taking the total number of people under the toughest restrictions to 24 million, or 43% of the population of England. A further 24.8 million will be in Tier 3. Areas moving to Tier 3 include Bristol, Gloucestershire, Somerset, the north of Somerset Council area, Swindon, the Isle of Wight, the New Forest and Northamptonshire, as well as Cheshire and Warrington. Cornwall and Herefordshire will move into Tier 2. It's like reading the football scores, isn't it? Cornwall 1, Herefordshire 0. The UK's devolved administration have also tightened restrictions to combat a rise in cases. I feel like I should be giving out a free piece of paper like the Tories do, or trying to, turn over the channel on a remote control. They're always giving their thumb away, aren't they? Wales going into another lockdown earlier than planned over the weekend. Mainland Scotland and Northern Ireland starting new lockdowns on Boxing Day. Who's this bloke? Analysis by James Gallagher, health and science correspondent. Anyone singing in the bleak midwinter may not want to write another verse. Blah, blah, blah. Let's have a look. So, shoppers, propaganda. You see this photograph of these shoppers here? Well, the other day there was video clips that were going about from the mainstream media that were trying to show London shoppers in the droves and droves of people. And all they did was they used a massive telephoto lens, zoomed right in down the high street, and all the people that were there, it compresses the picture's depth of field perspective, and it makes it look like there's more people and closer together than there really is. And if you actually look at the floor, because this is what you do when you see these pictures full of people like this, you can tell that it's a telephoto shot because it's not a wide-angled view, and at the same time there's a very shallow depth of field, so the two people at the front are sharp in focus, and then if you look at the floor just after them by the guy's green bag, it's immediately blurred out, and it gets more and more blurred as it goes further back into the distance. That's an effect that you get with a telephoto or zoom lens using a shallow depth of field. And then if you look at the floor, all the people seem to be spaced out plenty as well, so that's how they're doing these photos and video propagandas, making it look like there's more people than there really are. There he is, look. Twat Hancock. Social distancing. Can I give my friends a hug? Face masks. When do I need to wear one? Testing. How to get a virus test. Symptoms. What are they and how to guard against them? What a lot of shit. Right, let's close this one off then, so we'll have a look at the next one. So then we're moving on to the Sun. They've got a tier map. Let me just open this one then so we can interact with this as well. Coast Dweller Panic. Perfect sound and vision. Thanks, guys. Right, let's just enlarge this one on my screen so we can have a look at this. So we are now on to... Oh, has that gone back to the BBC? 1 second. That's not the one I wanted. I wanted the Sun's tier map. So where are we? Let's just move on to this one. Let's try again. Why is it still... Ah, here we go, the Sun this time. It's alright, it was me using Streamlabs wrong. I've set all the slides up a bit better today so that they shouldn't have to load when I open them. And anyway. Right, so Tier 4 areas map. Full list of places under Boxing Day lockdown revealed. More ruling by decree. So let's have a look at this then. So... the darkest patches for Tier 4, we've got all of the southeast, and, oh, that's London, isn't it? They always show London as an extra floating bit so that people can differentiate it a bit better. Tier 3 is going to be practically all of the east and the Midlands, which is where I am. I'm sort of West Midlands, but I'm not really that far off where the darker bit is. I'll have to check actually, and this map isn't actually showing me what's what. But even, you know, I've got my mouse over it and it's not coming up showing me the names of places. I probably have to do that on the main site. The Tier 2 high risk areas will include the Cornwall area, round sort of Bristol, Gloucester, up the west coast of England, and some of the northeast and northwest. And then medium risk. Is there anywhere on there that's medium risk? Can anybody see any brown? I can't see any brown, so they're just ramping it all up. Full list of places moving up a tier. it's like the Football League. So yeah, we read those out earlier as well. So Tier 4, Sussex, Oxford, Suffolk, Norfolk, Cambridge, Essex, Waverley in Surrey, Hampshire, apart from New Forest, Portsmouth and Southampton. Tier 2 and 3, Bristol, Gloucester, Somerset, Swindon, Isle of Wight, New Forest, Northamptonshire, Cheshire, Warrington, and Tier 1 to Tier 2, Cornwall and Hereford. So they've not actually mentioned where I am, but we're sort of, I don't know, we're kind of Tier 2, Tier 3 at the minute. Tier shit. Office of National Statistics has made estimates the strain accounts for around 30% of new cases in England. How are they coming about these cases still, guys? You know, what are they doing? Are they using Bluetooth proximity with people being bottlenecked in shops? Because all the supermarkets are rammed with people and all the smaller shops are all shut, which isn't very fair. Or is it because they're constantly testing medical, NHS and care home staff, plus like a few random people that are going there of their own accord because they think they need to? Okay, so that's the Sun's one, and that was from today, updated at 4:30. Let's have a look what we've got next then. West Midlands Police, that's my patch. West Midlands Police warns it will issue £200 fines to people flouting the Christmas rules. Let's just enlarge this one. Oh, he's done it again. It's gone back onto the thing. Right. Pick the one I want, OBS. Live TV. That's better. Right, let me just enlarge this so that we can have a look down this web page as well. Right, what have we got? West Midlands Police warns it will issue £200 instant fines to people. What are you supposed to do? Have they got a credit card machine in the pocket or something? Forces force. Service, guys. Police service. The force has revealed how officers will enforce the rules after Bojo cancelled the 5-day festive bubbles. I should have got one of those things for this episode, seems as it's Christmas. Right, there's a box full of bullshit. 44 parts of England at risk, blah de blah. I won't play that video because it's got an advert on it. So yeah, West Midlands Police covering the Birmingham area and sort of where I am as well, because I'm kind of past the Coleshill bit. Has warned it will dish out £200 fines to people who put the public at risk. Emotional blackmail, breaking Christmas rules. The force is warning people who blatantly ignore the new Christmas restrictions that they will face instant penalties. Nobody's going to pay these fucking fines. You know, mark my words. Because the more fines that people put on... Oh, who the fuck are Acro? Who are Acro? We want the fine to come from the court like it's supposed to do. Because somebody exposed Acro the other day. They looked on Company's House and there was a list of sergeants and police constables active still, who were the owners and runners of this business. So that sounds a bit like a conflict of interest straight away. Families were originally set for a relaxation of the rules between the 23rd and 27th of December, with 3 households allowed to form a festive bubble and meet indoors and outdoors. But Boris Johnson has now scrapped the 5-day Christmas bubble and said residents in tiers 1, 2 and 3 will be able to form social bubbles on Christmas Day only. West Midlands Police say... What? West Midlands Police say police say? That doesn't make sense. West Midlands Police say they don't intend to intrude on private spaces, but will take action if they feel the need to protect the public. Right, one of the chiefs of police has said that there's no way on this earth that they're going to be knocking on people's doors on Christmas Day. And the general consensus is, if any cops come round sniffing, keep your doors locked at all time, don't answer the door. If they've got a warrant, tell them to stick the fucking thing through the post box. And that's that. A West Midlands police spokeswoman told Birmingham Live, "We are taking a proportionate and common sense..." How come I've gone into the Queen? Common sense approach. But at least as a last resort, those that flout, love that word, flout the rules could be faced with a £200 fine. The force also recognised. The force also released a statement which said, "We are reminding local people to play their part in the fight against coronavirus." As other areas of the country move into tougher measures and the festive season approaches. It is so important now more than ever to do the right thing and curb the spread of the virus. We will continue to take a proportionate and common sense approach to policing in West Midlands. Well, why have you said all this bullshit firstly then, West Midlands Police? We don't intend to intrude on private spaces. Oh, nurse. But we are counting on you to act responsibly before, during and after the festive season. No. Mind your own fucking business, cops. Our approach remains to positively, politely and proactively engage, explain and encourage people. You see, this is that encouragement thing. First, they start asking you what you're up to. You tell them mind their own business. Then they tell you that they're going to try and encourage you to disperse or go home or whatever. And if their encouragement doesn't work, that's when they start forcing it on you like fascist Gestapo. These are challenging times for the public and police alike. The public and the police are not alike. Let's make that abundantly clear. The police are not like the public. And the public don't like the police. And can you really blame people? We would rather we didn't have to police COVID-19 legislation. Well, don't do it then. But it is important we do limit the spread of the virus and save lives. Oh God, who's this? Look, it's Bojo. Hasn't he aged since he became Prime Minister? We are committed to keeping our communities safe from the virus. Announcing the changes to Christmas restrictions, Bojo said, As the I can't do an impression of him. Whiff waff. I've not been drinking. Well, I kind of have been drinking. As Prime Minister, it's my duty to take the difficult decisions. Hang on a second, let me just make sure that, yeah, there we go, it's still working properly. Difficult decisions to do what is right to protect the people of the country. Given the early evidence we have on this new variant of the virus and the potential risk it poses, it is with a heavy heart that I must tell you we cannot continue with Christmas as planned. He further added, I know how much emotion people invest this time of year and how important it is for grandparents to see their grandchildren and for families to be together, so I know how disappointed this will be. But we have said throughout the pandemic that we must and we will be guided by the science. I was waiting for that to come up. The science. Whose science? Crony fucking scientists. I tell you what, right, if 2020 has done one thing right, it's now drawn a line between crony medical practitioners, doctors and whoever else, and the truthful ones that are actually spilling the beans. When the science changes, we must change our response. When the virus changes its method of attack, we must change our method of defence. In England, those living in Tier 4 areas should not mix with anyone outside their own household at Christmas. Those support bubbles will remain in place for those at particular risk of loneliness or isolation. You think? According to the rest of the country, the Christmas rules allowing up to 3 households to meet will now be limited to Christmas Day only, rather than the 5 days as previously set out. And I think that's the end of that, isn't it? Yeah. Deary me, guys. Deary me. Right, what's this police Tier 4 warning video? Let's have a look. I think this might not be a video as such, but we'll open it up. It's The Sun. Oh no, mainstream media alert. Well, you've got to push this mainstream media stuff as well to prove the point, because nobody listens to tinfoil hatters, do they? But I tell you something, how correct have all us lot been since the beginning of this scamdemic? Right, it's done it again. Let me just interact on the correct thing, because it's playing up a little bit. It takes 2 goes of me opening the window. Right, here we go then. Let's have a look at this one. Tier 4 fears. Tier 4 flouters confronted by police in video as cops break up house parties and pubs serving beers day before Christmas. Watch the video. Shall we give it a try? I don't know whether it's going to work. It might start running an advert, and if it does, I'm just going to turn it off. Because
Andres was in here. We came back and forth to cook more food for the market, and that was it.
Here's the thing. I have never been to take away food where they've sat me down and handed me a pint. And no, I have taken away plenty food.
I know. Like, I've just said, what do you want? I understand that's a breach. I understand.
It's Tier 4. Be 2-8 there. 2-8 there. Right. Yeah?
We all have access to smartphones, so where I know that we've moved from Tier 3 to Tier 4, it takes very little effort to pop it into Google, Tier 4 restrictions.
Because of the size of the party, and the size of the party and the lack of engagement from people here, you are going to probably end up with up to a £10,000 fine. Okay?
Up to a £10,000 fine. More fucking scare tactics, eh? Police are warning Brits to obey Tier 4 rules as they released a video showing officers confronting flouters bullying innocent men and women. Just days after the new restrictions came into force, a string of videos was released by the Met Police today showing Brits being warned they were at the risk of 10 grand fines for breaking the rules in the lead up to Christmas. They love repeat, don't they? And then we've got video stills from there as well. In one clip, Met officers are seen attending a house party, attacking a house party, that should read, in Holmwood Road in Essex that was breaching the rules. Another shows police disbanding an unlicensed music event party in Barking, and a third sees officers engaging with the rule breakers at a pub in Tottenham. Officers are seen arguing with flouters who swear they didn't know the rules of the highest tier, as well as kicking dozens of people out of parties. But the cops pointed out it was easy to find out just what the rules were. Really, you know, I mean, it's not like it's changing by the fucking second, is it? You know, and people have spent a fortune on making plans for Christmas. They've already gone and bought all the food. They might have bought a turkey big enough for 3 family worth of people, and all that riff-raff. Sorry, not riff-raff. Whiff-waff. Oh God, Boris is getting to me. Anyway, they've wasted money now and people are mega pissed off. Enforcement is the last resort. The warning from police that they would respond to flagrant breaches comes as Home Secretary stuffed a gobful of peanuts Patel today said cops would not be knocking on the doors for Christmas. Speaking on Sky News this morning, she said, the role of the police in the public domain, and this is not about going into people's houses or setting up roadblocks. That doesn't read very well. Anyway, enforcement is the last resort, but they have the tools such as fixed penalty fines, blah, blah, don't pay them. They go after egregious breaches and they'll continue to do that. And Chairman of the Metropolitan Police Federation, Ken March, said yesterday, insisted there was no way normal day-to-day households would be confronted by cops over the festive period. There you go. So give Ken March a round of applause. Well done, Ken Marsh. He's I've seen a video clip of him somewhere saying we ain't going to be knocking on people's doors. So first things we've seen of the police refusing to do the government's dirty work for them. If Priti Patel wants to keep people away from each other on Christmas Day, then she's got to come and fucking knock on the door herself. But normal day-to-day households, there is no way my colleagues will be dealing with that. He told BBC News that if people refuse to open the door to the police have no power to force entry to the property, calling coronavirus laws a toothless tiger. What's this? Commander Alex Murray of the Met Police today said, over the weekend, just been, London and the surrounding areas were moved into Tier 4, the strictest tier in the country. This is due to the increase in COVID we have seen over the past few weeks and the rapid spread of the virus among our communities. Over the weekend, just been, as we have been for most of the year, Met officers were out and about responding to flagrant breaches and issuing fines to those who thought they could organise warehouse parties and put many of the others at risk of the virus. Most Londoners want to see the enforcement. No, they don't. None of them want to see the enforcement, except for soundbite people that they meet on the street and get mainstream media bits to put on the news, and gullible people that are going along with all this stuff. Most Londoners want to see the enforcement we are taking against those who think the Tier 4 rules don't apply to them. I hope that this shows just a glimpse of the work that we're doing. Our message is clear. It's the only message that's clear. Anyone who thinks the rules are there to be broken, ignored, or do not apply to them is very mistaken. Right. We've got various articles in the European Convention on Human Rights. We've got our inalienable rights as men and women, far above legislation and statute legislation. And we've got the Nuremberg codes as well. And a lot of this stuff is just trouncing over our real rights. These are policies and rules. These are not laws. The rules are there that the rules are that you should stay at home. It's for your safety and the safety of your family and friends and the safety of our communities. What a lot of crap. Moving swiftly on. Right, here we go. So before I go on to this slide, let me just come back to let me just go to me for a moment. There we go. Hello, it's me. Right, not long ago there was a protest in Birmingham where some of you would have saw that I interviewed David Curtin, who's running for London Mayor. So everybody please vote for David Curtin to become the London Mayor. And I also interviewed Piers Corbyn briefly as well. And while we were talking, there was a lady from a certain Midlands-based constituency. I'm keeping it anonymous because she did ask me not to, because she worries that it would be obvious which MP it was and what was written, etc. So I'm honouring that because, I will honour anybody's anonymity as requested. So she was listening in to me and David Curtin talking, and then she came along and she'd got a letter in her hand from her MP. And the question asked was, are there going to be any sanctions against members of the public in the event that they refuse to have the C19 vaccine? And the response from the MP was something to the effect of, what was it he said? There aren't going to be any sanctions from government, but be prepared for a rough ride. I think that's how it said it. Be prepared for a rough ride when it comes to corporations and insurance policies. And that immediately was a red alarm bell for me, because what I think is going to happen is, while the government might be saying that they're not going to be enforcing any sort of sanctions against us, and what we're talking about here is being banned from walking into our own workplace buildings, being banned from shops and any other type of entertainment style buildings, theatres, gig places, everything, that we don't want to be banned from going in there, or have it as a condition that if we want to go in, we've got to have the vaccine. But that then moves me on to this. Now let me go back to here. We'll get rid of this one and we'll go to... Oh, it's just moved everything. There we go. Let me just get rid of police tier 4. This. COVID-19 certification / passport MVP. MVP stands for minimum viable product, I believe. I'm just going to quickly Google that actually. MVP. Yeah, minimum viable product. Definition is, a minimum viable product is a version of a product with just enough features to be usable by early customers who can then provide feedback for future product development. A focus on releasing an MVP means that developers potentially avoid lengthy and unnecessary work. So beta testing, basically. They've spent... Let's have a look at it, actually. I'm just going to click Interact. Actually, I need to press that first, and then I can go to Interact. Yeah, I've worked it out. It was me that weren't pressing the right panel. COVID-19 certification passport MVP. Now then, this went out to tender and closed on the 9th of November 2020. And let's go through it. So what does it say? So this is under Contracts Finder on the government's website. Department of Health and Social Care, published on the 18th of December, so it's brand new. Awarded opportunity. This means that the contract has been awarded to a supplier. Contract summary. Industry, information technology services, and then a reference number. Location of the contract, London SW1H. Value, let's have a look at that, let's see if we could guess who that's going to be. SW1H OEU. Just going to jump onto the Google again. SW1H OEU. RBKC offices, what are they? Let's have a look. Interesting information. I'm just nosing around. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do this together. I'm going to go back onto Streamlabs. I'm going to close the interaction on this slide for a second. I'm going to pause that one for a second, and we're going to go and do a Google together so we can all see what the crack is. So let me just big screen this. And what was it? SW1H OEU. What did I put? SW10? Hang on a second, let me just make sure I'm on the right thing altogether. Sorry guys, won't be a moment. Go back into the government MVP, and then what does it say? I need to zoom in again. Sorry guys, I want to get it correct. Where has it gone? SW1H OEU. Right, let's go back on to... I'll get rid of that one again. SW1H OEU. Get rid of that one. Go to this one. Interact. Okay. SW1HOEU, enter. Let me just big screen this so that we can see it. Why has it gone black? I'll tell you what I need to do. I need to go and remove some code out of the window that this Google's for. Background colour black, no. Refresh that. Refresh cache, done. Go to Google, interact, and full screen. That's better. Right, so let's do it again. SW1HOEU. Right, oh, it's not working. SW1HOEU. Who are these? Ah, the Department of Health and Social Care. Whee, there we go. So they've basically tendered out a job to themselves. Whoop-de-doo. Right, let's get rid of that one then and we'll go back to where we were. So the Department of blah-de-blah. Bye-bye Google and hello COVID passport viability and interact. There we go. Right, we're back. So they've given it to themselves. The value of the contract is 42 grand. As a procurement reference, the published date was the 18th of December. The closing date to tender was the 9th of November, 12 AM. Contract start date 9th of November 2020, ends 20th of November 2020. So something has gone on where they're creating a COVID-19 certification passport system, or they're at least beta testing it at this stage. But they actually just said to us not long ago in that letter that MP wrote that they're not going to be putting any sanctions on us. So why are they looking at a COVID-19 certification? And it looks also like, and there's something that I didn't put a slide in for, so excuse me, I'm going to go and build this slide now because there's something that was on Mail Online and I'm going to copy it in and we'll just build a Streamlab page as we're live. I want to browse a source. I don't want it to link to anything else. I'll call it that name. I won't give it away just yet because I don't want to blow what it's about. And now it'll come up and I'm just going to 1920 by 1080. Get rid of all the custom CSS code and get rid of refresh and done. And then we shall go and grab it. We'll put it in the right order somewhere so that I'm not hidden underneath. And interact. This Streamlabs OBS stuff's all good practice because next year I'm going to be upgrading my Keylight photography to do live streaming and I've just bought the Atom Mini Pro and a load of new gear. Anyway, firms start work. Right, what's this? Mail Online, the 21st of December, updated on the 22nd of December, so yesterday, so pretty much brand new. Firms start work on freedom passports. We're working properly, aren't we? Yeah, it should come up in a second on there. Right, document would allow people who have tested negative for COVID-19 to enter pubs, schools and workplaces. There we go, see? Guess who's been correct since the very fucking beginning? 2 firms awarded government contracts for exploratory work on a new app. So it's going to be on your phone. It's going to be a QR code. The Department of Health said no decisions had been made on... There you go, the Department of Health have got the contract. No decisions have been made on introducing the passport. The contracts envisage a system under which people are assigned a QR code. I've not read this yet. I just saw it and I posted it on Facebook. Work is being carried out to develop a new coronavirus freedom passport that will allow those who have tested negative. So they're forcing the test onto people so they can ramp the fucking case numbers up more and more. So you won't be able to enter pubs, schools and workplaces. 2 firms have been awarded government contracts for exploratory work on this new app, which will allow people to prove they don't have COVID. So how are people supposed to prove whether or not they've got a virus that's being tested where they're only actually looking for spent RNA exosomes in our lung fluid, as in the phlegm from a chest infection, that's finding an exit of the body through being coughed up and spat out? Now, I'm not a scientist. Just come back to me for a second. Right, I'm not a scientist. I don't have a PhD, although I have been begging for PhDs to actually do a live debate with me on this platform, and nobody will so far. I nearly got one the other day, but it wasn't that they just chickened out and blocked me after the last second. Right, as I understand it, and this is me being basic, right? This is me with me plasticine safety scissors, basically. You've got your DNA, right? And a DNA finds the fact that there's an infection that needs fighting. And that DNA says to an RNA, go and do a job and kill some virus. So the RNA scoots off, right? And it grabs some macrophage proteins, I believe, which are its power pellets if it's Pac-Man. And then it scurries off around the body and it deals with the infection. And after that's happened, those RNA exosomes are basically dead spent matter that's either encapsulated a virus, killed it, and then it's just mush, basically, that congeals into phlegm and is ready to be coughed up and spat out. That's my basic understanding of it as a non-scientist. Okay, let's go back to where we were. So why has it gone on to... Oh, sorry guys, you can't see the thing I'm looking at possibly. Let me just go and find what we need to look at properly. Where is it? It's going to be there. Right, apologies guys if you couldn't see what we were looking at here. This is what we're looking at. I'm going to go back into Interact. It won't take me long to just quickly refresh over it, and that's going on to the wrong thing there. Firm Start, that's the one we want. Interact. Sorry guys, this is what happens with live TV. There we go. Right, so this is it. Yeah, Mail Online. Yesterday's date, firm start work on Freedom Passport, and you're going to be needing to do it after a COVID test. This would be updated at the test centre, so it's going to be on a national database. Let's go and have a look at a film again. So if I go into, I'm just going to jump on YouTube for a second. In fact, no, we'll do it properly. Actually, we'll do it all together because that's better, isn't it? We're not Googling with John. Let's go back to the Google. Let's just go into here and we'll go and stick in youtube.co.uk, youtube.com, you pillock.com. Right, done. Let's just go and interact with this. Oh, look, it's me. Interact and double click. Right, so what we want to look at is VST Enterprises Health Passport. And I hope it ain't going to play. Here it is. This is the thing. I hope there's not an advert first. Just turn the sound down. Right, watch this, guys. This is a British company called VST Enterprises, also known as V Healthcare Passport. I think V-Healthcare Passport.co.uk, I think it is. So what basically happens is you've got this. You can see there's an app on the screen there called V Passport, and you open it up. Let's put that music on nice and quiet in the background. And check the levels for a second. Desktop audio, turn that right down. So, somebody's gone in for a test, and in this test, apparently, it looks like they're taking blood. Let's get rid of that music, it's annoying. Yeah, they're taking a prick of blood out your finger. So, whatever virus or whatever thing they're looking for, I don't know whether they'd still do it out of lung fluid PCR tests up the nose and down your throat, but in this demonstration they're using a blood sample or saliva, it said there actually. So yeah, they take the specimen, stick it in a machine. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Single clinician can administer over 100 tests per clinic. The results are uploaded, so there you go. Look, they're updating this on a, what does it say there? Did I say biotech then? Let's have a quick look at that. Oh, BioSure Rapid Test. There you go. So there's a reference number for the patient, the type of test it is, the results negative, positive, or sent for analysis. So they choose that. And the date, of course, because they're going to be putting things into, I don't know, 3 weekly chunks, monthly chunks, 3 monthly chunks, 6 monthly chunks, who knows. The results are uploaded onto the V-Health Passport profile to validate your COVID-19 health status on your app. So you can see it's green, and now this chap, he's off to the dentist. So he rings the buzzer, he doesn't walk in, he has to stand back so that he's plenty of distance away, because he's obviously, even though he's negative, guys, the staff member comes to the door, wearing a mask. He ain't got his mask on. And now what they're doing is they're doing a marrying up, and you see this QR code here. This is the sort of thing that looks like, well, it's more specific to the app, and it's the sort of QR code that you can see from quite a distance away, because these guys are 2+ meters away, and they're going to hold up their phones, and it's going to sense it basically, just like when you check your lottery tickets on the lottery app, National Lottery app, and it says that he's green, he's negative, and thus he's allowed in. There you go, look, yeah, it was a dentist. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. We've got to put a stop to this, guys, and it's going to take big numbers of people. Let me just come back to Streamlabs so that I can... what's going on there? Oh, it's me. I've got myself open on another screen. Right, anyway, that doesn't matter. So, yeah, that's what's happening, guys. Whether you like it or not, I've been saying, and other people have been saying from the beginning, they're going to enforce blackmail onto everybody by way of having a nationalised app that gives you... Initially, it's going to be based on your positive or negative test results. So that's going to force everybody to have to keep going and having sticks rammed up their nose and down their throat all the time, right? And then eventually, the prototyping and beta testing of this... minimum MVP contract that was 42 grand's worth, once they've got it working, they'll end up rolling it out across all businesses and enforcing it. And the way that they're going to enforce it, if we remember what was said in that letter from the MP to that lady from that constituency on the video from the... It's on actually on one of my channels. It's from the Birmingham protests a couple of weeks ago. He said, be prepared for a rough ride when it comes to insurance policies, right? So you're going to end up being blackmailed through insurance, and a business owner will have his public liability and health and safety insurance policies revoked if they don't comply, which means if they don't start screening their clientele and banning people from coming through who are red flagged, then they'll lose their policy. Obviously, we know that there's already tons of secret customers because I think it was on Nigel Farage's channel and a few other people's channels. There was a pub open, but it was only supposed to be open for people to order things online and then come and collect, because they weren't dealing with bar draft. There you go, sir. They were dealing with closed bottles and cans from the same sort of supply chains in their fridges and in their cellars, and they were being able to sell them through the window basically as long as people ordered them online. And a chap turned up and said, oh, please let me off, go on, just pour me a pint just this once, my phone's not working. And the chap said, oh, all right then, here you go, mate, thank you very much, clunk. And by the time he'd come back with a pint on it in a glass, two guys from the local council turned up with their ID badges and prosecuted him. And that is entrapment. Right, let's go back to where we were. So we've just covered off the Government UK COVID passports minimum viable product slide. So I'm just going to close the Google one off at the bottom, and then we're going to go to... We've done... Firm start was where we were, actually, that was it. Right, let's have a look at this then instead. Look at the state of that. Let's go and interact with this then. Probably going to know exactly what this is straight away. This is Dover. And all I've put in is Dover lorry, and you can see this top left hand corner image there. We've got 2,500 lorry drivers are all being held up on the M20, I think. Let's go and have a look at the live traffic actually, because I've got that on here as well. And there's also kerfuffles kicking off with the police blocking all these lorry drivers in. Let's have a look at the live traffic actually, because we can go to there. Traffic England, there we go. So this is live traffic, and I'll interact with it so that I can refresh it. Let's come back up with the lorry one. Sorry, that's my fault. Traffic England. In fact, I'll double click it and I'll refresh current page. There you go. So you should see that reload. Done. And there we go. And then we'll go and interact with it so that we can come and zoom in. So down here, you can see that they've closed all this stretch of the road here. And what have we got? Closed is the dotted line, the M20 coming down from London. And earlier on, all of this was just yellow and red because it was non-moving traffic. So it looks like they've now closed that road, and there's more barriers and closure warnings here and more closure warnings here. And then we've got a traffic jam down here, which is just southeast of... Oh, I can't remember the name of the place. Sorry, it doesn't come up on this map, but you know where we are. We've got Folkestone down here and Dover over here. And you can see you've got yellow all the way along the road and also coming up the A2 as well, because they're all trying to get down there. There's French lorry drivers that are stuck in Britain, and people are saying that it's France's fault because they've closed the border. Whatever the problem is don't you think it's a bit inhumane that all these lorry drivers are sitting stuck in their trucks? Apparently, there's been several Sikh... what is it now? It's members of the Sikh community have been driving down there and giving food and drink and supplies to these lorry drivers that are all basically stranded in rows and rows of traffic. Let's go and have a look at this rows of traffic, and I'll tell you what we could do as well. We could go and have a look. We'll go back to the Google and we'll have a look and see. So we'll interact with this one again, and then we'll go back and have a look at YouTube, and we'll see if we can find any videos of any kerfuffles. Yeah, we can do it in here actually. So let's delete VST Enterprises off there, and we want Dover lorry. We'll put that in there. Here we go. Furious. Here we go. Let's see. I think there's an advert plays first. So we'll just let this run out. It's going to be on for... Oh, we can skip it now, and I'll put the sound on as well. So this was today. This is the police blocking people and lorry drivers, causing a right stink. These two guys sound French to me, but they could be from over the continent anyway. So it looks like these guys are ones that want to go back. I mean, my business has suffered a little bit because they've closed the borders to all the freight, and I'm waiting for some photo albums for my customers for their wedding pictures from Italy. So that's all stuck in transit. And I'm also waiting for some gear from Germany, from Blackmagic, who do all the live streaming equipment. So I've got stuff that's coming from a firm over there that I'm just going to see how long it waits. Just think if all 2,500 lorry drivers got that pissed off and they just descended on the police. Scandalous, absolutely scandalous. Absolutely disgusting treatment. They're all stuck there. They can't get home for Christmas. I mean, they're going to have enough fuel to sit there, but are they going to have enough fuel to sit there idling to keep warm? Or have they got those Webasto preheater things built into these sleeper cabs? Even, have they all got sleeper cabs? Or are they just day drivers that are supposed to do as much as they can, work time directive based, and then they've got to do taco breaks or go home? You know, I suppose it's not quite as bad if you've got a sleeper cab, but if you haven't, you're absolutely stuffed. So that's most of what I really wanted to cover today. Let me just have a quick look myself through my Facebook, because there were a few things I posted today. Bitcoin. Right, I had a look at Max Kaiser. Let's get that up actually. We'll go back to the Google thing again, shall we? Live scene and browser. Let's just scroll down and we'll go to the Google. Now, Max Kaiser, he's been on about it since 2011, and I really wish that and everybody wishes in hindsight, that they invested in Bitcoin back in 2011, because it was $1 a coin, and now, what's going on with this? Why isn't it select all? It's not actually doing select all there for some reason. Anyway, we wanted Kaiser report. Let's go straight to his channel. Here we go. Look, we told you so. I watched this earlier on. They basically said back in 2011 they were shouting and preaching all the way through, all the time actually, about buying into Bitcoin. And Bitcoin was $1 a coin back in 2010, 2011, and now it's $17,560 a coin. So I mean, just think. Let me just do the math. Oh, I've got a knock at the door, guys, and I'm expecting a parcel. So I'll be 1 second. Cheers, mate. Nobody there. Wow, he uses Amazon. Yeah, I have had to. Let's go back to me for a second. Yeah, I have had to use Amazon for a few things because I simply can't get stuff. I can't get stuff from Germany, and I've had to buy this thing here is a capture card that I needed, a particular type of capture card. But yeah, we need to start boycotting Amazon because they're just taking over everything. You know, when I try to buy the bare minimum of things possible, and what I actually do is I go on Amazon first to find the thing I want, and then I go through Google to get in contact with the actual shop. So the other day, let me just find the number. Got to prove it now, haven't I? Citation. Let me go to phone numbers and I'll tell you where I phoned. 0033 6 51 41 43 23. That's France. That was a phone number I was on too. And then there was an 0203 number which is London based. 0203 903 0318. And I think, and I'm just going to Google this myself. 0203 885 0020. This was for a... Oh, it's not coming up properly on here. Anyway, it was for a shop in Germany, I believe, that had got a British phone number to keep people's phone call costs down. And I've had to get the thing from Amazon anyway because I can't get it in time, and I need to get all the gear set up. I want to build all the Atom Mini Pro gear into a guitarist's pedal case, so that what I can do is I can open the pedal case. It's got 2 screens built in so that I can see what's coming in from all the cameras and what's going out as broadcast. And then I need SDI switchers, HDMI splitters, capture cards, all sorts of different stuff. Anyway, where did we get to? What were we on about just now? Remind me. It isn't a blockade an act of war? Avoid Amazon while he uses Google. Yeah, well, you know, it doesn't matter, does it? We're all hypocrites at some particular point in time. We all go to BP and Shell to buy our fuel, don't we? Or Asda or Sainsbury's or wherever, because we're stuffed for choices sometimes. And I mean, you could go to the little petrol station down the road, but they charge about 50p a litre over and above the normal price. So what are you going to do? You're going to go and get it from Asda's petrol forecourt instead, and then hope you don't end up needing a 4th engine. Yeah, I'm on engine number 3. Right, so just remind me what we were on about. We were on about Bitcoin. Yes, right. Bitcoin, what's this? The Kaiser report. Yes, so let me just go back onto here. We'll go back to here. Here we go. And interact with the Google one. There we go. So that was it. I was doing the maths. Right, there we go. So if I'd have bought 2,000 quid's worth of bitcoins in 2011, that would have basically been 17,500, we'll say, dollars. This is per coin now. Multiply that by 2,000 is $35 million. So you could have just done that and sat on it. I mean, what I'm intending to do with Bitcoin is I'm watching the... what tends to happen is you have this kind of W shape where you'll have a rise in prices, a little drop, a rise, a bit of a crash in prices that's dramatic because people will start going and selling when it's hit a spike, and then it shoots up further again. Now, there's forecasts from mainstream media, independent media, entrepreneurs. Everybody is saying, except for a handful of skeptics, that Bitcoin may end up being somewhere between $250,000, and $500,000 in the next 5 to 6 years' time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick a couple of grand's worth on it, because you can buy out if you need to, and that's going to get me a fraction. And I think I think it was 58 times, wasn't it? I think that was the math. £2,000 multiplied by, say, 57. For every grand of a fraction of a Bitcoin bought today, hopefully in the next 4 or 5 years, that 1 grand should turn into about 50 to 60 grand. That's the hope. Anyway, that's what I wanted to touch on with Bitcoin. Have a look at Max Kaiser's video. It's his latest video, The Kaiser Report. We told you so. And he also says in there that the Western world, the majority of the Western world's mainstream media are basically shitting on Bitcoin because they don't want anybody to buy it. They want to get rid of it because they're all in cahoots with banking cartels and the big banks. And the big banks use fiat and fractional reserve banking, which is basically securitized against everybody's assets through mortgage bonds and all that sort of stuff. But the bottom line is that we've got this great reset coming, where the general consensus is that they're going to basically say, we'll relieve you of all your debt that we've put you into in exchange for ownership of all your shit. So they want to basically wipe everybody's debt, mortgages, the whole lot, as long as they can control everything from then on. And I think the point of that is that this is my kind of opinion on a brief history of... let's just go back to me for a second. There we go, because we're just looking at the Kaiser Report on pause. This is a kind of basic outline of my own assumption. This is just my opinion. But we are about 4 generations past World War II into home ownership. And some of you that watch my videos, you might have heard me talk about this before. I've spoke about it years ago. From about 2012 onwards, I think I started on this. Now, the banks, they securitise mortgage contracts. In short, for example, if you go and borrow 100 grand on the 1st of January from the bank, you expect the bank to go out the back and wheel through 100 grand in a wheelbarrow and go, there you go, sir. We sweated blood and tears to accrue that money for ourselves, and as such, we're going to lend it to you, but we want you to pay us back with an interest out of kindness for us lending it to you in the first place. And that's what average Joe public thinks. They think the bank lends the money out of their own accrued wealth and you pay it back with an interest. But what really happens is, and this isn't conspiracy theory, this is provable, because Professor Richard Werner of Southampton and Oxford universities, or Cambridge I think it is now, he sits down in London and he actually talks about this to high bankers in London, and makes them basically gobsmacked. And what happens is, you borrow 100 grand from the bank, you're the only one that signs the mortgage contract paperwork. The bank are supposed to keep those original wet ink copies, stick them alongside the deeds to the property and put them in a safe out the back of the bank for 10, 20, 30, 40 years until whoever it is that's bought the house is paid up, and then you go to the bank and you say, I'd like my deeds, please. You know, thank you very much, and now you own the house in full and the bank haven't got any commercial lien on it. But I think either about 28 days after the purchase happened, the bank take your wet ink signatured mortgage contracts and they put them into a portfolio with hundreds or thousands of other customers with similar types of mortgages and loans, called securitisation, and they sell that portfolio as, say, AAA portfolios, which are worth the most, to hedge funds and property speculators, and on the futures stock index market. Now, I'm not a specialist in this, so this is just my general understanding of it, and I've been told that it's right. And the bank sell the 100 grand mortgage contract for up to something like between 10 to 25 times the amount that you borrowed. So for 100 grand borrowed, the bank immediately make £2.5 million worth of profit, and the 100 grand that was given to you there wasn't a penny of it that actually came out of the bank's own blood, sweat and tears accrued money. All they did was do a credit check against your legal person and then generate an advanced credit out of thin air in your legal person's name, because it's you that owns the debt. And that's what causes inflation. You know, I mean, the more pounds in circulation, the less each one's worth. Because if there was only 100 £1 coins in existence in Britain, just think how much they'd be worth and how much you could get for one of those. So where did we get to? Banking. Right, yeah. So we've had 4 generations post World War II, which was where one of the other great resets was. The last previous great reset for Britain was after World War II. We needed to rebuild society. We needed to stock up on kids as well, which was the baby boom. Excuse me. And as a result, the government and society said to people, build a family, create a nest egg, buy houses, accrue your own personal wealth, stuff for living off in old age, stuff for a rainy day, and things to give to the kids in inheritance. And as time's gone on, people have bought the house, paid for it, and given it to their grown-up kids when they've died. And if that pattern continues, banks are going to end up not having any customers, because they're all going to have been given free houses from their parents, right? So what it looks like is happening now is we've got this great reset where we're all being forced into debt, destitution, unemployment, major future uncertainty and insecurity. I mean, just think how big the unemployment figures are going to be for next year after all this stuff's been carrying on, because it was, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Anyway, so eventually we'll all be in major debt, and let me just remember it, the government with the Great Reset thingamajig will come along and they'll say to people, we'll expunge you of your debt as long as you give us control of everything, but you can still live in the house that you live in, but when you die, we're going to come and grab it in probate as a commercial lien before you can give it to your kids in inheritance. And that's what I think's going to happen. Is it's just it's a property and asset grab. Why is my phone just lit up? What's this? News editor picks. What's it like to date across the class divide plus more? What a lot of crap! Get off! Oh, get away! The news app. I keep telling it not to. I don't want it to give me any updates or push notifications or whatever you call them. Anyway, so where did I get to? The Great Reset, grabbing everybody's stuff back so that they've still got control over everything, and that's them having the collateral and us not having any at all. Cash will be eradicated. Is that meant to be? Irrerated, it says, Strawman, but yeah. Home ownership is a myth. Compulsory purchase has seen that, actually. You know, that's made a big dent in the confidence of the house buyer, because not far from where I live, we've got HS2. Because I live between sort of Atherstone and Tamworth, just off of the A5, which is a couple of miles away as the crow flies, and not far as well, about a mile away as the crow flies from the Kingsbury oil terminal. And we've had HS2. What the hell was that? Sorry, something just fell over or clicked. We've had HS2 digging up fields, shutting buildings down. There's a little hamlet down the road where properties that are worth, I don't know, £600,000 plus, massive old grade 2 listed farm buildings. They've all been accrued by the government under compulsory purchase because they're in the way. And what about the generations of people that have lived there? They're just having all their shit snatched off them. And there's down by Dunton Island, if you know Coles Hill, it's the M42 Junction 9 roundabout. They've closed down hotels. They're going straight across a farmer's land as well, but I suppose they're paying top book price for everything as well. They're not just snatching it and keeping all the money for themselves as well. They've got to buy it off you. But you're right, yeah. We don't have proper home ownership. A man's house is not his castle anymore. So getting back to the Bitcoin thing, the Great Reset is what I think the Great Reset is going to be done, not only to do a big asset snatchback, but because the fiat currency system is going to start crashing very, very soon. And excuse me, I've got a major itch in my nose, but it's just live telly for you. And my brain's dying, guys. It's been a long day. Oh God, I've been on an hour and 5 minutes. I might call it a day in a second, but that's why people are now saying that Bitcoin is about to soar, because the fiat currencies are going to start crashing and collapsing. We know that the banking system's going to start collapsing because they did quantitative easing in 2008, 2009, following all those big banks in America foolishly lending subprime mortgages to people that brought down the value of their portfolios for the futures market. And they're probably using the COVID opportunity. I should do a bit of this, shouldn't I, really? The COVID opportunity to kind of mask over the crashing of the currencies, because they're just going to blame everything in the same thing. They're going to blame it on the public for not staying indoors. They're going to blame it on the public for all these lockdowns and tier things and business closures being continued way past where they were supposed to be. And they're going to use that as a blame reason for the currencies crashing. Now, there's also something else about Bitcoin. Let me just have a quick gander. I'll do it on the Google Interactive thing again so that we can look together. I need to go back into there, go to the Google thing, and I'm just going to stick google.com straight in there so that it's where we want it to begin with and interact. Oh, no, I don't want to remove that. Bear with me just a second, guys, because my brain's just died. This is what happens when you've got long days full of stress. What was it now? It was something about Bitcoin soaring and... No, it's gone. Too tired. Right, I tell you what, guys. Let's just have a quick look through some of these comments then and see what we've got. Come on, John, 5 minutes. Come on, guys, communicate. Say hi, it's free. Oh, it says 6 o'clock. None of us sadly know what a Freemasonry man is. The late, great John Harris was a true Freeman. Yeah, John Harris apparently committed suicide, sadly, many years ago because he was overwhelmed. Let's come off the Google thing because I've forgotten what it was. He was overwhelmed with all the stuff that he discovered about the... It's not necessarily free man on the land, because that's a tag that conspiracy theorist is another type of tag. They try to use that to belittle people. It's like calling somebody a sovereign citizen. All we are is men and women. I'm a simple man, you know, that's it. If you try and... If a cop's talking to you and they want to try and get joinder in the person, you're just a man. Anyway, yeah, rest in peace, John Harris. I did watch a lot of his videos years ago. Right, best to do parking fine videos. Oh, thanks, Rick. You know, there's much more important things at stake right now than parking tickets. Tier 10 the world. No, don't tier 10 the world. Right, Mark, that was Lord Muck. Mark Maudsley, all seems very convenient. Super mutant COVID. It's like a turtles, isn't it? Ramp up the fear, keep the masses in check. Hi, pal, Jimmy Baker. Coast Dweller sounds great. Deadly Plague, sound good, sound good, sound good. Right, Strawman, nice to hear. What is this? Nice to hear on 3 radio today. Contract with vaccine passport agreed. Shame the heap don't... The sheep, I take it that's supposed to say the true agenda. Yeah, it's people control. You know, social conditioning and blackmail. Oh, there's something else I forgot to say. I don't know whether you're aware, but Sky News Australia have got some balls, basically. Sky News Australia, top bananas to them, because they're telling it how it is. They're basically on our side as far as I can see, because they are mouthing off like I'm mouthing off here, calling it all out for the bullshit that it is. And they broke a story the other day. Let's go to the Google. We'll do this while I'm not forgetting which one I'm on. Right, they did a story the other day where they said that there was a release, and I think it would be 1.9 million members of the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. Here we go. Yeah, have a look into this, guys. 1.9 million members of the Chinese Communist Party. CCP membership hit 92 million just under in 2019, and it accounts for 6.6 something. Let's have a look at that one first. What's that? China Banking News. 6.6% of China's total population. Right. Why don't I get a back button? I get stuck on these. It needs a back. Can I do back? No. I have to come out of it and then go back to the thing and hit Google again. There we go. Let's go back to the start of that. That's not working. That's refreshing. Google.com. Let's try again. No. Oh, that's weird. That's supposed to go straight back to Google. It's got me stuck in there. Refresh cache. No. Shut down source when not in use. That'll do. Yeah, there we go. We'll go to that one. Right. Let's reopen this. Yeah, that's the only problem with Streamlabs. You need a back button and there ain't one. Right, 1.9 million members. So Sky News Australia broke a story where there's been a leaked document that's got the names of 1.9 million people and businesses that form part of the international, I don't know, infiltrators of all our other countries who are members of the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, and they are accountable to, is it going to open? Accountable to the Premier of China, basically. Security experts from Cybele discovered that the details of 1.9 million members of the CCP were leaked on a hacking forum. And apparently it is legitimate. And according to sources, Pfizer, AstraZeneca and Medina were in there. Allegedly. I'll have to put the word allegedly in so that I'm not going to get sued if I'm wrong, but that's what I saw. And doesn't it sort of make you think, well, no wonder all our governments have been sidestepped when this stuff started happening? Because what happened, as soon as COVID started, we've got the likes of Fauci and co took over where Trump would be standing in front of everybody with his own normal people. We had Whitty and co and at these triple podiums standing where Boris is supposed to stand, and so on. And as a result of that, I believe that we've got... in fact, I said this a while ago, it feels like a Cold War between China and the Western world. And what I now call it is a technocratic, corporatocratic coup d'etat by the Chinese Communist Party. You know, I mean, how many people have we got in our own government that are... I wonder if there's any actual names down here. We'll have to look for that. Details, big data trends. No, that's all. So here we go. What's this down here? We'll have to have a good look around, won't we? People who are concerned about their information exposure can register on Cybele's data breach monitoring and notification platform. Oh, that's not really given us anything, but it's given us the title of it. So no wonder we're ending up with a Chinese social credit system that's going to be based on the blackmail of, have you got a virus that is 99.7% not a problem? And I think if you're under the age of 60, it's only affecting 0.0003% of the population, which is 10 thousandths, 3 10,000ths of 1% chance of dying of COVID under the age of 60. I think that's brought us to the end of the show then, guys. So we've been on an hour and a quarter. We've got 23 people watching. We've had I don't know how many people have watched, but you know, please like and share. I hope I've got everything right with what I've said. Pull me apart if you like. You know, I don't mind. I'm not one of these egotists. I'm not after fame. For starters, I'd rather keep anonymity, but of course I understand I've got to put my face to things and prove stuff. You know, it's no secret what business I run, and you know, I mean, I've got wedding photo albums behind me as well, and I run my business from home, which is this, and all my contact details are on there. I'm not bothered, you know, as long as nobody swats me. You ever seen those swatted movies? Let's have a laugh, actually, just to finish up. Swatted. Back to the Google. Could you tell me all about the W dot? Refresh cache. Go on. Google.com. Shut down cache. There we go. Right. Let's go to interact. There we go. Sorry, my brain died for a second. Let's just see what we've got. Now, if you type in gamer swatted, because it's mostly online gamers, swatted and killed. No, we won't go for that one. Let's go and have a look on videos. Call of Duty swatting. Top 10 games swatted. Here we go. So basically, you'll be playing a live stream. Oh, piss off, advert. There we go. Just ignore that for a second. Let's just turn the sound down. Hopefully that's got rid of the sound on there. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, we can skip ad now. There we go. Right, swatting. Watch this. Don't swat me. It's not funny.
No means supporting swatting. It's a terrible thing to do, and it has awful consequences for both the person making the call and the person being swatted. Hopefully this video will make the potential swatters out there think twice before possibly ruining their life or that of another human being. If you enjoy this video, let us know by throwing us a thumbs up down below, and if you want more, check out our video on the top 10 video game characters that can destroy
He's
the
borrowed
world.
them from his
But
beard.
before you do that, get ready. It's time for the top 10 gamers swatted live on Twitch.
Yeah, let's just give a shout out to what this channel is, actually, if I can find it.
Kutra. One day when the creatures were streaming in their office, some dummy called in a
I'll
false
put a link.
report
I'll
that
put a link in
hostages
after
were
the
being
video's
held in the
finished.
building.
Actually, I'll
SWAT
stick it
members
in the
came
pinned
in,
comment.
handcuffed Kutra, and interrogated him before determining that no hostages were being held. Thankfully, everyone was fine, but it would have been a horrific experience.
Do we have to watch one where people are being dictated? I hate this, don't you? When you want to watch something, you just want to watch the raw video. Let's just see if we get to the raw video. Here's one. Right. Hopefully this chap ain't ranting.
It's just
Yeah,
a
here we
bit
go.
hilarious.
So,
that one
live stream gamer, people hack around and find out what their address is, phone the old bill and say that they're going to kill themselves, they've got guns, bombs, blah, blah,
of
blah.
the people he's chatting with goes,
And then this
"Where's the
happens.
bomb? Where's the bomb?"
Kid in his
What do you do?
bedroom. Timmy!
Bomb's done by
Timmy,
Tito.
there's place at the door.
Right before you see an officer look under the bed. It looks like
Anyway, enough of that. Go and have a look for yourself, guys. Put gamer swatted. Don't put swatted and killed. Not going to watch any snuff movies. But I suppose if it's on YouTube, it's fine. Right, that concludes today's show. I do wish you all a Merry Christmas. I will eventually start being a bit more frequent with the videos and live streams and things. I just haven't had the time on the run up to Christmas because we've been so busy. And yeah, so do what you want, basically. That's my advice. I ain't going to be taking any heed of this bullshit that's going on. I can tell you that for sure. And yeah, so wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Right, look after yourselves, guys. Stay sane.